Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Almost 30.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's Lindsay and Krista.
It's
We
time.
are done up. What?
We are done up and ready. We're in New York City for a great week, and I just had to get breakfast at Happier.
Oh, yeah. Happier Grocer.
It's good.
It's good. Well, it's a great New York option.
Yeah, honestly. One of my friends was like, it's better than Erewhon. I was like, what? I was like, oh, cute.
Where would you put Erewhon in the city if it were to come here?
Union Square. I know. I just was like,
I was like, no. I mean, that would be.
Nolita?
Yeah, like something
Or
a
NoHo.
little.
NoHo. I put
or
it in
like
NoHo.
Tribeca.
Oh, good one. Tribeca or NoHo.
Yeah, I agree with that.
For sure. One of those. And then, I mean, did kill in Upper East.
Oh, kill.
Kill in
Or
Upper
Upper
East.
West.
I haven't been in Upper East or Upper West in 50 years.
We're going to have our
Bookstore
book
event.
event. Yeah, on the Upper West.
Okay, good. I can't wait to see it there.
It is actually, it's lovely.
It's beautiful.
It's actually really lovely. It's very families, like neighborhoody, but it's
my makeup artist.
Nice.
Her family's been here forever and ever and ever. They have a 5-bedroom apartment in the Upper West.
oh nice. There you go.
Isn't that insane?
That's insane.
She's like, yeah, it's been in my family forever. I'm like,
awesome.
yeah, you would never leave a 5-bedroom
Yeah,
apartment.
that's so wild.
I'm like, how does that logistically work?
The inherited properties are always so fascinating to me.
I think actually I would love to watch a show on YouTube that's Inherited Properties of New York, where you see all of the rent-controlled places.
Oh my God.
Like, that would be crazy.
That guy that does the like, how much do you pay for rent? What's his name? Caleb or something like that. He like walks around on Instagram and is like, how much do you pay for rent? And then he goes to tour the place.
Okay.
But he does a bunch of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where it's like rent control. How much do you pay for rent? And they're like, whatever number. And then you walk in, you're like, what?
And it's sick.
Yeah, it's sick.
I
That
wonder if
place is
how does he meet them? Does he meet them first or
Yeah,
what?
yeah. I think it's a little staged because sometimes it's celebrities, sometimes it's like influencers. Like
Yeah, because I've
whatever.
seen one clip where it's an influencer and it was just very obvious
Oh,
that
totally.
it was like,
I think people know now.
yeah. It's like, oh, hey.
But he mixes in like regular people with regular apartments.
Okay.
You know?
I want to see the Regos.
Yeah.
Do you remember last time at Happier Grocery, I was talking to Billionaire and he called me?
Yes.
Okay, so this man, I think this man was a liar.
Okay.
I think he's a psycho. So
I mean, I believe it.
I had that day, I was talking about my
Can I just say, if you're a billionaire, you gotta be a little psycho.
Oh, no, psycho and
Okay.
unwell.
Yeah.
And so I had been talking about my voice retreat that day. Had been talking about teaching and working with speakers. And so he calls and was like, what's up? How's it going? I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to here. I'm doing a big speech. And I was like, oh, interesting. What's your speech for? And he's like, it's for my business partner. He's retiring. And I'm like, oh, cool. I was like, what, do you guys work together in business? I was like, I was like, can I tell me some of the speech? What are you going to say? What are you going to say at his retirement party? He's like, it's huge. It's like 1,000 people. It's like a really big party. We've been in business forever. And he's like, you really want to hear it? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you really, really want to hear the speech? I was like, yeah. I was like, I really want to hear the speech. I was like,
Hey, I have 5 minutes.
no,
Keep
literally,
going.
I was like, give me a taste of it. And he's like, okay, I'll tell you. And he's like, okay. And he has an accent. He's like, okay, so me and this guy, he's super straight edge. This guy's super, super straight edge. I mean, straight edge. And this was a long time ago. And we were in Miami, partying our asses off in Miami. And I'm like, this is in front of 1,000 people, and these are grown men. So let's just start there.
Yeah,
We're partying in Miami, and our car broke down on the side of the road. First sign you're lying.
Yeah, totally.
Your car broke down. And he's like, and we're in Miami, and these girls pulled up, these college girls. And they stopped to help us. And I'm like, no girls would ever stop
Yeah, literally.
to help you. He's like, so then these hot college girls stopped and they decided to pick us up and take us back to their sorority house. I'm like, is this like
Okay. Are you pitching a movie?
No, literally. I was like, is this Van Wilder? Like, I was like, this is a 90s movie. Your brain is stuck in the 90s. He was like, so they picked us up and they took us back to their sorority house, and it was crazy. They had their tops off. They
Stop.
were swear to goodness on the goodness. And I'm like, I'm literally just like, oh, you're psychotic.
Yeah, you're psychotic.
And he's like, it was just a crazy night that we had. And I was like, You're
So that's what you're gonna say?
I was like, tell me. I literally said, I was like, tell me when you start telling me the story you're gonna say.
literally.
I was like, you didn't need to tell me that. You could just tell me the story you're gonna say. He's like, no, I'm gonna say that. It's hilarious. Everyone's gonna die laughing. He's like, his wife knows. I asked his wife. He's like, I got permission from his wife. She thinks it's hilarious. And I was like, oh, this man's a whole liar. This man's a whole insane man.
That's crazy.
And also, I'm like, do you think I'm 14 years old? Where I'm like, oh my God, my party with sorority girl.
Cool. No,
I'm like,
what the fuck?
I'm like, and that
Ew.
never happens.
Yeah.
Weird. That's your
Weird.
fantasy. You just said like a porn you watched.
Like, were they in their like Maybach and like this?
Yeah, probably.
These sorority girls were like, oh,
Yeah, like but it's like, okay, if you're that rich, you can figure out how to get your car working.
of
Do you know
course.
what I mean? Like, and I just was
You have
like,
a driver?
do you have a driver? Like, it was just it was honestly, that was like I was like, you're unwell.
Then we cut it.
I think I entertained for a few more. I didn't end it right then, but I was like, oh, you're a liar. Yeah. And also that stuff is so weird to me.
Like, read the room. Why would you share that
Why
story,
would you share
even
that
if it's true?
to a woman that you're like,
Weird.
what did you think?
But that's the thing with an age gap. Because there was an age gap, right?
There's a brain gap.
Yeah, there's a brain gap. But
There's
you know
a brain
when they're just
development
like,
gap.
there's like a weird fucking like corny
Uh-huh.
thing that happens after a certain age where you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. I think that men on that wave feel like talking about other women makes you more attractive.
Yeah.
And like but it's like, no, actually, I don't want to hear you say a single, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
actually,
100%.
the men that I know that get the most
Less is
women
more.
literally never they just move in there. They just move and do their thing.
Yes.
You don't need to be telling me about girls that the college girls. I was like, this is so crazy.
Guys are wild.
It's so weird.
It was like he was testing you or something.
Probably. I think he liked to. Yeah, he would. He actually would. He was a little insane. There was like one time where he's like, "Hey, I'm in LA today, but I can't see you. I'm sorry." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "What? Like, why are you?"
Just so we're clear, yet you did not need to tell me that.
I was confused, and he's like, "Sorry, I'm not be able to see you." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Are you mad?" And I'm like, "I'm just confused of what's going on right now." And he's like, "I really loved that you got upset."
Yeah,
No,
that's
insane, psychotic.
Yeah. He's probably been with a bunch of psychos too. You know what I mean?
For
So,
sure. And I was never in. It was never obvious that I was interested ever. So I think he wanted to find ways to figure out if I was interested. So I was like, no, I'm
bid
just
for connection.
the bid for connection. That's so true. He was bidding for connection.
It's actually really true. I'm sure he was bidding all the fucking time.
Oh, bidding all the time. You know what? His bids were crazy. Like the rich men that are like that, their bids are like, where do you want to live? What do you want?
Right.
Like, you don't need to work. Like, it's like the manipulation almost of building the life vision.
I fucking hate that manipulation because like girls really, 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 there's a lot of women who, I don't want to say fall for that, but like that touches a part of us where we're like security.
Yes.
Like, you know, all that stuff that we do desire.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's fucked.
It is. No, it really is. I think you have to.
You're smarter than that, obviously, but like it's a thought where you're like, that would be nice.
Oh, it's definitely a thought where you're like, huh.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like, do it now then. You want to talk about buying a house?
It.
Yeah, I was like, literally go on Zillow right now. Prove it. Buy me a house right now. I think it's just for me, if this is what you're doing, what happens after we have that? Where's the what are we talking about? We need to have what do you mean?
Course,
That's our first dates and conversations is like
course.
talking about a fake life. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
But they have so many, like, I feel like they can do that, say that, provide that, quote unquote. But then, like, it means they really don't have to show up in the real ways.
Mm-hmm, totally.
You know?
Totally.
Yeah. They kind of have that over you.
There was one time, too, where he was like, on the first date, he's like, I basically am retired with everything. I want to be like a stay-at-home dad. Because I was like, to the matchmaker people, I'm like, kids are they need to be kids down. So I think they always tell them. And then the dudes are like, I was like, oh, okay. And then like the second or like third day, I don't even know when, he was like, we would get care. He's like, I still want to hang out. He's like, we would have round the clock care. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I'm like, are you stay-at-home dad or are you round the clock care? Yeah, I was like, honestly, I was just kind of watching it happen. I'm like, this is just like, what?
But like even saying that we would have, you know what I mean? Like doing the we already, like painting the life.
That is one thing with these older men.
I
they
know.
we the first date.
Yeah.
You know, Krista, you know what they always do too?
Red flag.
They use my name every second. You know, Krista, someone like you.
That's
you
more
know,
for
Krista.
podcast interviews.
No, it's more like NLP, like you're Donald Trump. You're like manipulating me. It's the name using is 24/7, but they're businessmen.
Yes, exactly.
So they're doing their thing in business. You know what I mean? Like it's a business, you know, you're winning a business thing. You're kind of seeing what you can do or whatever. And I think for me, because if I'm interested, it's crazy. Like you are like, you need to like lock her up. And if I'm not, I'm very like, it's obvious too.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to figure out what if I say this? Maybe she'll warm up.
Totally.
I know, they're like, maybe this will get her. Maybe like if I talk about our future, she'll like that. And I'm like, I know.
We got to find some of those like mid-rich.
Oh, midi rich.
Because like
Midi rich is good.
the bees are just.
The bees are unwell.
Yeah.
The bees are not in a
And
world.
they're just connected to some wild shit.
Yeah.
That like.
Yeah.
Probably makes life a little weird.
I want mid. Mid's nice. Midi with this one dude is really nice. It's not midi, but it's really. It's just he's very generous and very very nice, and so it's very kind.
We want generous. We also want someone who's like conscious.
I know, honestly, but you're trading for like age because they're older.
Yeah.
So you're the young hot
But I feel
thing.
like, especially in this day and age, you can find, you know, a little less older, you know, the age gap a little less, and people are still really, really successful and very stable and confident.
For
like, I feel
sure.
like
It's not
that's the ability to have that now.
For
I feel
sure.
like
It's not even about that for me because it's like the one dude was like lived in in a cabin in the woods. And I was like, great.
Totally.
Cabin it is. I was like, guess we're living in the middle of nowhere.
Revolve. Do you have lumberjack?
literally. Revolve. Plaid button down. Cowboy boots. Daisy Dukes. It's like hunting gear. Bass Pro Shops hat. I got to cosplay. I'm like, I'm your girl. Whatever it is, I'm your girl.
Oh my gosh. Anywho.
I know.
Here we are. We're so excited to have Nikki Novo on the show today.
Yeah, talking about
dear
purpose and business, how to make money being yourself, using your gifts.
Yeah. Which I'm sure a lot of people listening would love to do.
Yeah.
If they're not already doing it.
Yeah. They may be already doing it in some capacity, but maybe it's not feeling good or maybe it's not conscious.
Yeah.
Because I even think about, I'm trying to think if you thought about this too, some of the gifts that you had that you were working in jobs that you didn't love, that you were still using your gifts.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Like what?
Every single job. I think bartending, you know, my gift of like listening, communication, holding space.
Yeah.
Because whether it's like people coming to the bar, like because they're not feeling so great.
Yeah.
And wanting to talk, wanting to connect, whatever. And then with Soul Cycle, just that like performance curation of an experience.
Totally. Yeah. That's huge. I'm trying to think in my jobs. I think at the end of my last jobs, I think the only thing that was keeping me there was personality hire.
Yeah.
Because I just was so checked out because I wanted to do something else so bad. I mean, I could probably think of stuff, but I'm very quick. I'm very sharp. So I can figure out, I can go into a meeting and not know what's going on and figure out what I need to know to fake it enough. I was very good at that. Like being like, I don't know at all what we're talking about, but I know what to do to get by.
Yes.
Like that was like my little strategy. But yeah, I think for so many people, first, I think understanding what your gifts are, your natural skills and abilities. from God. So that is like the things you came into earth with. That can be helpful through astrology or through human design. And then really the things that you've cultivated over time.
Yeah.
So what are the things that throughout your childhood or growing up years you became good at or have, become some of your gifts? And then really figuring out and giving yourself permission, because what's going to stop you beyond that point is the mindset stuff. That's where the mindset stuff comes in, your belief system of what's possible, of what you can do, of what you can create, of who you can be, is where that's really important, because you could understand all of that. And so many people understand all of their gifts, skills, and abilities, but there's something that's stopping them from actually having that be manifest in the world and be in existence in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. Do you feel like purpose and like do you feel like your gifts can change and your purpose can change over time? Or do you feel like it's kind of one main theme?
No, I think it can change for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think of gifts. I think I just found more gifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you just
kind
hopefully
of a
in life you just
deepening and
discover more
Mhm,
because you
mhm.
learn more about yourself. Like the eternal process of knowing yourself would probably
Yes.
be knowing more of your gifts
Yes.
and knowing your purpose.
Mhm.
But I mean, do we have a purpose? Is there any purpose? There's no purpose, and then there's all the purpose.
Yeah. And I think we kind of get a little tripped up with and we talk about this in our book, is our job our purpose, or does it have to be our purpose?
Yeah.
Can purpose be how, we make people feel? Can purpose
Mhm.
be you know, what we do when no one's watching or
Mhm.
what we're not sharing online?
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
I think we get a little bit confused with everyone kind of showing their life and things now.
I know.
But it could be both.
That's where I was thinking when I was dating one of the Richies. I was like, oh, I actually would love to just flit around town and just make people happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like make the barista smile and talk to them. Make this man just like,
Yeah.
because I'd have the freedom to just be like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm just going to go around and make people smile.
Mm-hmm.
I try and do that anyways, but I'm rushing around
Totally.
because I need to pay for myself while I do that.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Nikki Novo teaches people on intuition. She helps people that have gifts cultivate their gifts and step into their gifts. She's really good at business, kind of seeing the business aspects of things. She's given readings to us and every single one of our friends. She's like our friend's favorite reader, and she's just such a great, caring person.
Yeah, I
She's
love
such an
her.
amazing friend.
Love her so much. This was very much a conversation. Sometimes it feels like an interview, but this was definitely like friends really going deep on some really fun topics. So I think you'll love this. You can go to nikkinovo.com to learn more about her and what she offers. And on Instagram, she's at Nikki Novo.
All right, guys, enjoy this one. Send it to a friend. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure to subscribe to Almost 30 so you get the episodes straight to your phone. And then Almost 30 Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. You can listen to our second show, Morning Microdose, which is daily dose of Almost 30, daily dose of inspiration. There's no ads, no nothing but the inspo. So highly suggest you get into that. And then our book, almost30.com/book. It is a good one.
So good. All right, y'all. We'll see you on the other side.
Love ya.
Bye. All right, let's talk metabolism, everybody. I feel like it's a hot topic, so let's do it. If you've been feeling like your energy is lagging, or your digestion is off, or your body just isn't doing what it used to with food, you are not crazy. You are not imagining it. It is real. As we age, our metabolism naturally slows down and our gut health takes a hit. So enter Pendulum's Metabolic Daily. I have been taking Metabolic Daily for almost a year now, and this is a 4-in-1 daily probiotic formulated by PhD scientists from Johns Hopkins, Harvard, and Berkeley. It's designed to support a healthy gut, help metabolize sugars and carbs, enhance GLP-1 production, and boost immunity. What makes it super powerful? It includes Akkermansia, and it is a keystone strain that most people are low in or don't have at all. And kicker, you can't get it from food. So this strain is key to a thriving gut and healthy metabolism. And it's now HSA, FSA eligible. So very cool. And it's also loved by scientists and Halle Berry. Yes, Halle Berry. Go to pendulumlife.com and use code almost30 for 20% off all Pendulum membership first orders. Or for a one-time order, go to amazon.com/pendulum and use the code almost30 at checkout under the payment section. Just click use a gift card, voucher, or promo code and enter the code in the box.
Let's help your gut help you. Again, that's pendulumlife.com, code almost 30, or go to amazon.com/pendulum for single order discounts using code almost 30. Okay, I used to think adventure had to mean like doing something big, like traveling, going on a big trip, hiking somewhere crazy, or just like chasing the next thing. But lately, it's in the small daily rituals that feel the most grounding. And Kachava has become one of those staples for me. I was sharing it recently with a friend. I had a friend come over and she's like, "What are you drinking?" I was like, "Oh, girl, let me tell you." Um, so you know me, I'm a busy mom. I am a working mom. I am running around with my toddler all the time. And I really need something that actually is going to fuel me. And Kachava is my go to whole body meal shake. It's got 25 grams of plant based protein, 85 plus superfoods, and it actually tastes very, very good. My favorite flavor is the chocolate. So I blend this with like an almond milk or regular milk. I'll add a frozen banana sometimes or a spoonful of peanut butter. It's so good. It's delicious. I highly recommend. And I just feel so good, so nourished and calm, and it keeps me full for hours. What I love most is what's in it: maca root, chia seeds, goji berries, mushrooms, probiotics, and zero weird stuff. There's no gluten, soy, or artificial anything. It's just clean, powerful nutrition that supports my body and my mind. So fuel your day with Kachava. Go to kachava.com and use code almost 30 for 15% off your next order. That's Kachava, KACHAVA.com. Code almost 30 for 15% off.
Oh man, I'm pumped you're here in person.
Yeah.
Timing is always divine. Where are we catching you, Nikki Novo? Where are we catching you in your life that it
Yeah.
feels
What
like right for
chapters are we
you
all in?
to be here?
I think we're all in transition, kind of like moving from one stage to the next. No, I think sometimes when you have the kids almost like move you into different transitions.
Yeah,
So
that's a
I
good
just
one.
had like the oldest graduate from high school, middle went to middle school, little guy left kindergarten, which is like, um, my family, my husband has been sober for 4 years now. So that also kind of gives you a little bit of like I, I I don't know that sober journey, but I heard that like after 3-4 years, you kind of move into like your next stage. So we're just like all in a new stage. And I feel like I am trying to express myself differently in my work as well. When you like have a hit, like I'm coming off of like having a hit, the readings, the soul reading method. I'm like, okay, like what's the next thing? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Mm.
Where are you guys
What
at?
phase are you in?
I feel like it does feel like a little bit of an in between, but at the same time, I have like some very real and solid things to look forward to next year, like the book, moving potentially. But it does overall just feel like I'm kind of stepping into motherhood out of the fog of the first year and really feeling more confident and inspired by this season that I'm in. And finally, I think in a real way, connecting with other moms, which also just inspires me in what I'm creating next. I think in the first, 9 months, I was like just surviving in a way, like really happy, but also just getting my bearings straight because everything is new every single day. But I actually realized the other night I was like in bed and I actually realized that even though it is kind of a season of like, what is next in a lot of ways, I actually thrive in those seasons and I can't let my brain tell me that I don't, because I think our mind is like, you don't know what's next. That sounds like pretty uncertain and scary, but I think my most like creative things have come from seasons that are like kind of an abyss. So I'm actually rebranding it for myself so that I get pumped about it. Yeah.
It's a good
How
one.
about you, baby?
I was just thinking about, I'm like, I try to think in my life if I've ever had a time where I wasn't in transition or change, like I think also too, when you're striving for something, it always feels like you're in transition. And there's like, you want something, you want to move or you want a house or you want a relationship or you want a business or something. So there's always that like striving that keeps us in transition. And then life is just always changing. So I'm like, I don't know if there's ever been a time in my life where I would be like, I'm pretty good. Like I'm settled, but I do feel good within myself in a way that I have never felt. But I think this season for me has been, just like, God, the way that I love myself, I don't even know how else to describe it, but the way that I love myself and enjoy my presence, I'm so proud of myself. I'm just elated to live and exist is like so nice. So I do feel transition. I do feel like I'm sort of stepping into a different phase of my career, my expression as a healer and as a teacher and speaker. And then also in relationship, I've transitioned with dating men, not dating men, looking for my husband, my family, all of that. And so it's almost like so much compact into one. But it's just like so beautiful. Like I have no fear of the change that's going to come. And I'm just really excited about it all. It's just like, it's great. But I think there were points in my life where I had fear about change,
Yeah. And I mean, I think to your point, Lindsay, what you're saying is like, being in that darkness is really like, that is the womb. That is like when we're creating and kind of building something new, and only new things come from like being in that in-between stage. And like you said, like being in that constant evolving. If you're not a person that's constantly evolving, then you're probably bored, or you're probably on the contrary, feeling kind of stuck. So you have to get comfortable with that feeling of, being in that womb space, because you're going to constantly be creating. And for a while I was hard on myself about that, because I was like, oh, am I just like not a satisfied person? But no, I think more it's like I'm a creative person. So I'm always looking to create the next thing. Even we made a big move from Miami to living on 30 acres of land in North Carolina. And I was, working on creating that for a long time. And now I'm there. I'm like, okay, like, now what? Like what is next? But not from a dissatisfied place, more from it's so cool that we are these beings that get to create our lives. And I just like never want to take that ability to create for granted. But it does throw you into a lot of transition and a lot of moments of uncertainty and almost like not knowing what's next, but definitely getting comfortable with that is part of it. So that's probably, since you're such a creative person, I would imagine that's probably why you are comfortable with that stage, because anything is possible.
But I think too, I don't think I grew up equating like that creative state with stability or even security or abundance. So that's been something that I've been just kind of reprogramming over the years. But I have to kind of catch myself too, because and I think a lot of people listening probably feel this, and I'm curious how you both feel, where like it's very rare that I allow myself to be creative without the thought of how can this make us money, or how can this become a business, or, just kind of that thought. It's not a bad thing. I don't think it's bad, but I wonder what it would feel like to allow myself to be a bit more creative without the thought of what will this become in a monetary or success standpoint.
Well, because it's like you're trying to be creative, but you are giving it some boundaries. You're like saying, okay, we can be creative, but it has to fit within this boundary of making money. So maybe it kind of tightens you guys. But for when you started the pod, did you guys think it was going to make money?
No.
Maybe pay for our groceries.
Yeah, I remember we made $150 like some month. And I was like, dope. I was like, this is going to give us, this is going to be a nice little side hustle income. But then when it started to pick up, I mean, we took it pretty seriously and how we were going to set it up and structure it to make money. Because I was like, oh, this is the ticket. Like, this is the way. Then there was so much momentum. And I was like, this is the way that I'm going to get out of my corporate job and get out of this job and do something that I love and do something that I feel creative and inspired by. But I think when people think about creativity, it's almost like they use creativity as like their mode for escaping their life. So it's not even like they're interested in the creative act. It's like, how can that creative act get me out of my life?
Okay, yeah.
So, okay, I have this creative thing that I want to monetize my gift of tarot reading, whatever the things are. And it's like, okay, so is it really that you like that, or you just want out of your job? And not most people, well, maybe that was even me. I really we started it without any intention of anything. And then it became for me something where I was like, okay, I really want to use this to like express myself. But I think most people don't even have a concept or understanding of what it feels like to be creative, to have enough spaciousness in their mind to allow themselves to think and dream and express and emote. And I think creativity's been stolen from many of us. I mean, the buildings that we live in are all boxes that are gray with no form or structure. The school systems we have just feed the same information to kids that we've been feeding forever. We're feeding them trash food. They're not spending time in nature. All the creativity is like coming to them through video games. That doesn't allow you to be creative if you're already engaging with something that is so vivacious and alive. So it's receptive mode. So I even think the concept of creativity has almost been killed from our culture and society, and people don't even really have access to that.
And even on like social,
That's my sermon.
I think on social, it's like, you know, if I'm thinking about, I think my inclination is to create organically, and that is absolutely not going to go viral, or the algorithm hates it, to be honest. I am less inclined to pick up on like viral trends and recreate them, but that's kind of the game.
Yeah.
And, but I think it has kind of, and that it's I think on me, and it's a choice, but it's like, that's kind of dimmed my creativity a little bit. You know,
Social media has.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, because you're creating, but certain things are rewarded. You know, like the algorithm is rewarding like certain things. So that's kind of the creativity. But I kind of like to see these as like, okay, these are rules of the game. So if I'm trying to be creative online and the rules of the game are this, like, is this algorithm? Or if I'm trying to create a business, the rules of the game are making money. I think that as long as like we are aware that, okay, in this creativity, like it's like saying like if I'm a painter, there's some rules about being a painter. No, it's not a free for all. You know, there's like maybe you use a canvas and you use brushes, like, and you use this kind of liquid to paint. So I try to like still be creative, but know that I have these rules around this creativity, and that's like part of the game. That's why I love business, actually. Like I'm like, okay, cool. Like in order for me to being able to like live as a creative, I have to play by these rules of the business. And then I try to be creative within those rules, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I don't like get mad at myself necessarily that I want to make money doing it, because like it basically allows me to, I think it's like get out of that survival place. I mean, I think that's why we all, when we started to figure out that perhaps I can make money doing this thing that I really love, you try to find a way to survive. It's like, I just want to stay here. Like, I don't want to go back to my old job. I don't want to go back to being an editor or whatever. So you're trying to figure out that money aspect. But I really think that we have to see that as a game. And that's where the creativity comes from. Like, that's where like that childlike creativity comes from. So that's the kind of things I try to bring to myself.
I'm trying to think like, okay, so how would we define creativity? Like, because it's even like, what are we even talking about? I'm going to be Jordan Peterson for a second. Like, what are we even talking about with creativity? What is it? It's like, for me, it's like your life force essence. It's like the God part of you that's like bringing something out of nothing. You know, it's like creation, like that creativity. God was the ultimate artist. God was the ultimate creator, you know, of the universe. So that is the ultimate creative act. So it's like the aspects of us that have that God in us, the aspects of us that have that like essence is like what we experience when we experience creativity. You know, it's our life force. And I think it can create things. We can create this worlds, we can create businesses, we can create things. And it's also like the feminine, you know, it's like the aspect of the feminine, you know, the feminine creates and she destroys. Like it's the beautiful aspect of the universe that we have. So I think as women, reclaiming that ability to really tune into ourselves, to like listen enough to know what sort of things we can create from the void, what sort of things we can create from the abyss is like where we find the magic. And then we can add the structure of the masculine to create the structure and form to make money in the 3D realm. Because without the structure and form, we're not going to be monetizing it. And I think that's where a lot of women struggle in business is they can have the feminine creativity, the idea, whatever, but it's really wobbly and it's not sustainable because they haven't had enough masculine structure to really be monetizing or making it in a way. And I think when we first started Almost 30, I was so in my masculine. I was a dude, like me sitting like this all the time, like, and really created structure and really created like frame for things together, you know? So we were able, you were too like a dude as well.
I was a dude I dressed like a dude, but I don't think I created the masculine structure of the business. I think you led on that.
Yeah. I think just because the business stuff. But yeah. And it was actually very important that you weren't a dude too.
Yeah.
How did you dress like a dude?
She did.
Did I miss these photos?
She was like sporty spice.
I was sporty spice. I was a fitness instructor, so like I just kind of looked the part.
So it was like abs were popping, cargo pants, like crop top, jean jacket.
Yeah, loved crop top.
Loves a crop top.
Had a short ass haircut at some point.
With short ass haircut.
I remember.
Yeah.
I missed. I feel like I met
It
you
did
guys
look
like
really
right
good.
after.
I liked your short haircut.
Yeah, it looked good at points. I just think like it's just interesting.
Ellen DeGeneres cut.
Sorry.
I know.
But it's true. Like we needed that balance. But I think, it was the foundation for Almost 30 as a business. So that was absolutely necessary. And then I think later on, it's like allowing more of the flow of the masculine and feminine so that we could evolve.
Yeah.
And so that we could actually lean back a little bit and trust. I think like the masculine kind of keeps you in the what's next, go, go, go.
Yeah.
Produce more. And there were some seasons where we were kind of forced to sit back and be like, oh, damn, like things are changing.
Yeah.
Like how can we either do less or just be a bit more creative and efficient? But yeah, I completely agree. I think also creativity is like just an inner connection. You know, it is a connection to God.
Yeah.
100%.
The God within.
And that to me just feels like finding my center. And I think like just knowing and trusting myself as a creative being.
Yeah.
I think we can just like put the power outside of ourselves so much, whether it's to other people, society, other powers that be, and just not remember that we have that just incredible innate creative power within us to create our reality, and to create things that on a micro level, what seems to be a micro level, actually make an impact. You can create something just for the people in your home. And that creates a really profound ripple effect. I think people are so obsessed with, well, how can I bring this to the masses? And it's like the micro, what seems to me, the micro is actually really, really powerful. Like creating it for you, your family, your friends, and seeing kind of how that reverberates. Like I'm kind of interested in, because I think I need to kind of rein it in and bring it home a little bit so that I can reconnect with like what's really authentic to me to create.
Yeah, I think creativity is living a life that is like of your expression, knowing, because we're either living somebody else's creation or you're creating your own. Like it's like one or the other. And I think that's why even when we think about our kids watching YouTube and all these things, it's like, that's cool. You're consuming a lot, but are you creating? That's kind of the question we ask. But I think also if you think about life, like until what age were we probably like living somebody else's creation? I have a 19-year-old and I can see her fighting living her parents' creation versus her trying to create something herself, even though she doesn't know what that is. So to me, creation is just like the awareness that I have that gift to be able to do that. And maybe some people are okay with living other people's creations. Like, I don't know, sometimes it might even be easier to live somebody else's creation. Like maybe we drive ourselves crazy by creating our own lives. But I just know that I'm like a person that needs to live like an expression of who I really am. And I think that comes through how you create your life from the smallest to the biggest thing. And I wonder like, about the business aspect, it was so interesting to hear you guys like talk about, you started this way and then you got very masculine. But that made me think that perhaps like, it starts off feminine because you're passionate about something, you're excited about something. And then the masculine comes to like bring the sperm to the egg,
I was just getting that visual.
Yeah, like is that, so there's nothing, we need both the masculine's like, okay, cool, we're going to make this into something, but the feminine cannot do it on her own.
100%.
She needs like the masculine. And then that is like what births a business that is like a living, breathing organism at the end of the day that can actually produce. And it's being able to have both those energies. And I think, some of us just carry, like, don't know or don't feel confident enough, I guess, to bring the masculine like into the business. And I'm sure in a partnership it's probably hard because you guys probably felt like each of you needed to take one role rather than finding both of the energies like within yourselves at some
I
point.
don't think we knew what was, I don't think we were conscious enough during that time. Like, I don't think we knew about masculine, feminine. And also even now, like, of course I'll talk about it and I think it's real and true, but I'm not always like, I'm noticing you're in the masculine time. I'm just kind of, I'm just who I am and just operating from that way. But I was getting that same visual about, creation too, about the spermination of the egg, or just about creating life in the womb, because it is like it's in the void, it's created, and then like the masculine brings the form that can bring it to earth and to like life, because otherwise a lot of the feminine is the ideas, is the ideation, is the feeling, it's the things that are unseen, in the darkness, and then the masculine is what makes it able to be witnessed and experienced in the 3D on earth. And I think a lot of women now have their understanding of masculine sort of warped because of capitalism, because of our society, and because of the way that we're structured. So they're kind of not wanting to be in the masculine. But like when you can get a right balance with the masculine, it's the best. Like it is like the best. It feels good, feels powerful. And it's also just going to make you the most money in our world, to be honest. Like if you have a healthy balance with your masculine.
Yep.
And to me, the idea of like making money with your gifts is like, we really do it just so that we can stick around.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I want to be able to do this for all of my days. And it's like, well, money is almost like proving the concept. I think that's why we seek it. It's like, I remember for me, I was a fashion beauty editor, left that job to pursue something. I don't even know what it was. I was like, I'm going to self-help blog is kind of what I thought it was at the time. And literally told my husband on our honeymoon that I was going to like leave my full-time job. And I was like, by the way, you married me and I was bringing in income. Now that we're married.
Love that.
And he was like, okay, Nikki. And then, I helped him run his business, which was super cool because I got to it was so like not personal, in a way, because it was a service-based tree business, like not, creative, where I didn't feel like personal about it. And I learned a lot there, but then I got super bored of that and I was like dying to get out of that job. And I felt like I needed to prove myself out of that job, basically. I was like, I need this thing that I'm working on that I don't even know really what it is. I need it to work so that I don't have to like work for my husband anymore. And so that I can like, I don't know, in a weird way, like, I know this is horrible to almost, but like prove my existence. Like it's like what I wanted to do on a day-to-day. That was like the beauty of being able to make money with your gifts.
Yeah. Did you know what your gifts were at that time though?
No, I didn't. I had the gift of writing already at that point, and I think I just was unaware that when you're writing, you're usually channeling. So I had no idea. And then I started coaching, and basically the way the information was coming out was obviously like very intuitive, and that's where people were asking. And then I would just sit in meditation, and because I'm a little bit of although I have a lot of like water energy, I do need like a good organization situation. So I just wanted the readings to be organized. And like from that desire to make it organized is actually like how I was able to like rinse and repeat this thing that I was doing. So it was almost like seeking for it to be organized is like what made the readings like really hit. Because I wanted to be able to, I remember one day I was at this restaurant in Miami called Houston's, and it's like, I think they might have changed the name by now, but anyways, super popular. And it's one of those places that like, you're going to go and you're going to get your veggie burger and it's going to taste exactly the same. It tastes like, it doesn't really change. Like, you know what you're going to get. And I was like, how do you make a reading like that? Like, how do you make a reading where like every time you do the reading, it's going to come out good? And that inspired me to create like the format. And that like format is actually like what made this very watery gift that was trying to come through, this intuition gift is what made it like very powerful, was to actually give it some structure, to actually give it some boundary. And then once I figured out that I can just rinse and repeat this thing, that was like my ticket.
Wow.
And that was kind of how it happened.
Okay, science just did something really cool Fatty 15 is the first essential fatty acid to be discovered in over 90 years. It's called C15, and studies show it's 3 times better, broader, and safer than omega 3s. Yes, really. I was kind of stunned when I heard this. Here's the kicker. A new study just identified a condition called cellular fragility syndrome. This is the first nutritional deficiency discovered in 75 years, and it's caused by low C15 levels. 1 in 3 people may be affected, which can speed up aging and impact your sleep and energy, metabolism, liver and heart health. So it's a big deal. That's where Fatty 15 comes in. It's a science backed, award winning pure C15 supplement. Vegan, clean, and powerful, and it strengthens your cells, boosts mitochondrial energy, and helps your body naturally repair and regulate. And it comes in a beautiful reusable jar, which I love. It's glass. It's really pretty because longevity should also look good on your shelf. You know what I mean? But anyway, I have been loving taking Fatty 15. I just feel really good knowing that I am really getting to the root of good health, which is at a cellular level. So go to fatty15.com/almost30 and use code almost30 for 15% off your 90-day starter kit. Fatty 15 is on a mission to replenish your C15 levels and restore your long-term health. So let's do it. Have you noticed that fees are everywhere lately? Like you book a weekend rental and you have a cleaning fee. Buy concert tickets, there's a processing fee no one can explain. Even ordering delivery comes with a service charge. It's like we're getting nickel and dime just for living life. It's very annoying. And those fees feel especially frustrating when money's tight. That's why I love Chime. So with Chime, there are no monthly fees, no overdraft fees, and no minimum balance fees. It's basically banking that doesn't punish you for being a human trying to get ahead. Personally, I've had times where I was trying to stick to a budget and surprise bank fees totally threw me off. Chime gives me peace of mind. I know what's coming in, what's going out, and I'm not getting charged for just using my money. Banking shouldn't cost you money, and with Chime, it doesn't. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/almost30. That's chime.com/almost30.
Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Spot and eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs. Bank ranking and number of ATMs according to U.S. News and World Report 2023. Chime checking account required.
That's so cool because that's always so guide led, where the guides are like, okay, we got this thing. Now we're going to show you the structure. We're going to like, you know, here's the format that we're going to do. Here was how we're going to bring them in. So your discovery of your gifts, because I kind of want to like click on this a little bit because there's probably people that are listening that don't really know their gifts, but want to figure out how to live a life that they have the feeling, and the feeling is the driver of wanting to be more aligned, wanting to feel more like themselves, wanting to feel like they're living a life of purpose and meaning. So does that take first figuring out your gifts? Like, what is that? I'm asking all of us, like, what does that take?
I think so. For me, when I discovered writing, one thing that I thought was interesting was I think a lot of our gifts are on the other side of a shadow of ours. So like growing up, I was like a very dramatic kid. I have 2 brothers. And actually, even my brothers will tell you, they were like, we thought you were like a crazy person, like in high school, because apparently I was having a lot of feelings and I guess I didn't know what to do with it. And one day I decided to like sit in my room and just start to write about and I was writing stories, and I was like too afraid to date. So like in high school, so I would like write about my friends who were dating. Like I would be like, I was like Gossip Girl, you know, like basically like writing about them. And then I realized, and my mom even pointed it out to me. And I was like, oh, and this was like the first time I understood, like, Nikki, save your drama for your art. Like try to move that drama, like that energy into your creativity. And I think that like without noticing that there's this shadow that's probably like causing problems, like there's a reason for that. Like I was designed a certain way. There's a flip to that. And it was like when I first discovered that you can take something like that and turn it into a power, I realized I'm like, oh, most of our gifts and talents are on the other side of something that we're probably hiding and that we hate about ourselves. So that was a big like game changer for me when I discovered that through writing. And then the intuition one was like a funny one because during that time, I was dating this guy, and he would tell me, he's like, you know, you think like you know everything. Like you think you know everything about, you know, people or whatever. And I remember being in my head, no, but I do. I really do know these things. Like he was basically gaslighting me. Like I was saying things that I knew about him, and he was like mad that I knew them. And I felt very embarrassed about this. My mom would call me out on this as well, like kind of like a little bit of like a know-it-all or something. And I felt very embarrassed about this. But with time, when people were like seeking me for that, I realized I'm like, there it is. Like, again, another gift and talent that is on the other side of something that I've been trying to hide my whole life. So to me, that's like one of the biggest clues. It's, there's always these little signs, right? Like I'm sure you guys have memories of when you were a kid, you did this and this, and it kind of pointed to the fact that you might be doing a podcast or you might be a spiritual teacher or whatever. But I just don't think that unless we learn to embrace those things that we're almost scared of, the things that we are embarrassed about because it's like too much, it's too big, it's too out there, we just have to funnel that into some sort of good. And that is like where the gift and the talent is.
Did you feel like you looked at that shadow or kind of like healed that shadow before leaning in? Or
I feel that it just took a couple people to tell me to like recognize the gift before I could. You know,
I
it was
think
like
that's the beautiful thing. Like
They told you it positively or they told you it judgmentally?
no, I think after I got it a little bit positive, like finally one day shows up, one person shows up and is like, oh my God, what you just said, that really means something to me, even though I might have been hearing it the other way.
Yeah.
So I think it takes a few, it's like that English teacher that points out that you can write or whatever. So
Yeah,
I
God
think,
speaks to people.
yes.
For sure. That's like how I get mine. Yeah, I think almost 30, being a podcaster interviewer, my shadow, well, it's interesting because there's two things. I am still in a pattern that I've been in my entire life of making it not about me and asking people questions and deflecting and constantly being in someone else's psyche, in someone else's mind through the expression of this, because that's like part of my patterning is to deny vulnerability or deny, be scared of myself being heard, be scared of taking up too much space, whatever, which I work on a lot. And obviously I'm way better about, but it also is the shadow of that gift is being an incredible interviewer, being super in touch and even using a lot of my psychic gifts to like pick up what people are thinking in their mind and kind of go on that train and go on that path. So it's funny because it's like, it supports my shadow, but it also is like how I can monetize my shadow in a way.
Yeah.
And like monetize the aspects of the things that I have had in my, have like as an undercurrent of who I am that before I had this, were just running in the background in a way that didn't help me in my relationships, didn't help me in my life, made me like avoid a lot of my power.
But do you think that's like a first step though?
For sure.
Like now you're in a place where you're like, okay, now I can expand on this gift even more. But
I think it's the conscious awareness. Like I'm so grateful I'm consciously aware. So like now I can monitor this and I can be consciously choosing like, okay, it's cool for me to be in interviews like that. And then I can notice now in my normal life, I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel good to be in conversations with men or conversations with my friends and be interviewing. Like I'm no longer doing that unconsciously because almost 30 experience as an interviewer, I was doing unconsciously 24/7. And now I can switch roles of like, okay, now I'm going to take up a lot of space. I'm going to make this all about me. I'm going to be sharing all of these things. And then when I'm in almost 30 mode, I can be more in that phase of like, I'm going to make it about them. I'm going to be talking about them. And again, I'm saying this as someone I'm still talking right now. I'm still sharing my story, my experience. So I'm way better about it, but it still is something that it's almost like me allowing that part to be in her gifts in a way that's going to be good, but that's still kind of like a shadow part,
I think, Lindsay, I was thinking about kind of seeing you step into the motherhood work. The way that I would see that is almost like before it would be like, oh, what's the value in that? What's the value in like, I like to cook, or the value in, these, I don't know, these more feminine like gifts or whatever. But I think that's also part of it too. Like being able to see the value in something that's very everyday to you.
Yeah, the mundane.
And I feel like I see that in you.
Yeah, that's a theme of just like, because it does bring me a lot of joy, but I also have this like just thought or shadow or judgment around it of like, but does anyone really care? It's not really, is it valuable? Like you said, is it interesting? Like even I stop myself from like really talking about things on the pod because I'm like, it's not interesting. People are almost 30. It doesn't really matter. Like, let's save it for motherhood. It's like, I kind of stop myself, but it's my whole life now. So it's actually kind of,
it's hard because I can't really turn that off. And it's something I'm just truly passionate's a weird word to say, but it's just,
I think you're
it's my
celebrating
life.
it.
Yeah, I am. And I think I'm hearing within these, you know, other motherhood communities, but also the one I'm building, like there is that like hesitation to really lean back into this life. You know, it's kind of like this on edge, like up front in their seat. And they're like, well, I can't get too comfortable here because what would that mean for my career? How would my partner look at me? Like, it's a very interesting like relationship that we have individually. It's all different with the mother archetype.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think it's accepting the new identity? Do you think it's how culture and society perceives motherhood?
Yes.
I think it's both, but I think it's so much of how our current society and culture perceive motherhood. And I don't think they value it as much as it should be. I think it's the most profound, you know, role, job, purpose that I'll ever have. But I just don't think it has the validation that we all are used to seeking.
Yeah,
so whether that's
true.
receiving money for it or likes
That's
or
so true.
you know,
Yeah,
and
gold
It's so
stars.
true.
yeah.
But I think if we were going to give out tips about how to monetize your gifts, I think we're touching upon something here right now. It's like you actually have to see the value in what you're doing, right?
Yes.
So and I say this truly because I have 3 kids, like even, you know,
That's a good
seeing
one.
you with your child, like you are gifted at it. You
Yeah,
really
for sure.
are, you know? And I'm sure you probably don't feel like that all the time, but I can see it. And it's like being able to see that I'm a little gifted in an area that's probably like, that might seem mundane, right? Like I didn't, you know, none of us knew that interviewing or me being kind of intuitive, like that was a thing. It's really when you start to value it yourself. Like you have to be like, you know
that's
what?
fair.
I think this is valuable. And sometimes it might be because you're trying to lead a crowd. You're like, hey, bitches, we're like, all of us are valuable in this place. And that, you know, helps you see your own value. And I think that's the only, again, that's like we can go through some tips of like how to monetize your gifts. But I would say that's one of the big ones. You have to be able to value even when it looks very mundane. And I really feel like it grows from there.
That's a good one. I think that's a really powerful point about first understanding your gifts and then valuing them and seeing how they actually can impact people or impact lives or whatever that is. And I think a lot of people assume, and I'll speak for myself, and I want to say something about else about motherhood, but I think for me, because we are in our own experience in our life, I'm looking through the eye, you know, my own eyes. So everyone thinks this way, everyone feels this way, everyone communicates. And so we can't really see ourselves that clearly. And we don't know that what is easy for us is hard for other people. What is easy for us does not come natural for other people. And so when we can really understand and like sort of witness ourselves or be witnessed by people that we love, or even have tools like human design or astrology to really support us in those understandings of our gift, it's so much easier to find the value. But I think the biggest way that I've been able to see value in what I do is not making me a part of it. You know, it's like, oh, I'm just so grateful that I've been so blessed with I just am so grateful that my soul is what it is and that I can serve in that way. And it's not about, okay, I was the one that specifically impacted them and I did this thing, like da-da-da-da. It just becomes too big and too much to hold because I'm imperfect. I'm not going to always be interested in the same things. I'm not going to always be up for the challenge or whatever that is. And so when I can just see it as like, this was God given to me through my experiences and it's just being experienced now by other people. And that's the worth, is the beauty. But just to say about you as a mom, it is so interesting because so much of your gifts is like presence. It's like holding space. It's like being non-judgmental. It's like the play. It's like you just can drop in with people in a way of like piercing presence and attunement that like is like so important as a mom.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I'm reminded in this moment of just how important it is to like, I feel like we can become so kind of swept up by how our gifts are perceived, and like we don't actually
That's
Because I don't really feel like present to my gifts in the moment, if that makes sense. Like I hear you and that is true.
Yeah.
But I'm not actually feeling that in every, I'm not feeling that in every moment. So
our gifts are so us that it's real. That's the whole thing is our gifts are so us
DNA,
that it's so weird to think about your truest essence of your gifts, to think about then pulling it from you and then putting it in a box for sale. Obviously, that's what I do. But there is a part that it's like, even when people are like, oh, I want to be a podcaster, I want to be these things, I'm like, I don't know if you'll be successful because my unique essence and the trauma that I've been through and the experiences that I've been through created this amalgamation of me being good at this thing. And so I actually can't say that following this thing or method that you're going to be the best podcaster or the best thing, because your soul knows. But it is weird to be able to like verbalize the unique essence of you.
And that's why I think it's really important. I completely agree. And I think that's why it's important to have these types of relationships where you have people that can reflect really clear truth to you about what they've observed about you in your true essence. And so I think that's kind of a piece for me in terms of, monetizing my gifts. You've been really, really, really impactful in this way. And you have been, as my friend and just someone who's incredibly talented in business, where like you each have seen things in me that I cannot. And I don't think it's me like just not valuing myself. It's just that I'm me. And so I can't see that always. So I think that's a really important piece, having people who can really reflect back to you what they're seeing, experiencing of you as like who you truly are. And I'm always just jogged in those moments of like, oh, wow.
I think that's the power sometimes of, like you said, like a human design reading or an astrology reading sometimes. Like when a complete stranger sees you and they're like, oh, you have this gift. I would say the next step for like embracing it and kind of valuing it, as you guys were talking, I was thinking is it's the hours that you put into that craft. So like you were saying, Krista, you're like, I have this perfect mix of everything to like make a good interviewer. But And you're like, it's hard to see it in myself. But at some point, I think we have to stop and look at ourselves and be like, well, I just put in 4 years worth of interviews. I've done this amount of interviews. I've been there with my child these amount of days, all that stuff. And you do have to kind of quantify what, like how you've gotten better at it too. So I think there's an aspect of, I could have noticed that I was a decent writer when I was younger because it was like innate. But then at some point, I think the next step is like taking that gift and honing it, and really being like, I'm going to write a lot and I'm going to get somebody to edit my writing and tell me that it's good or that it's bad. And I think that's where the confidence comes from. Like, I think that we can turn some of our gifts into confidence with time if we feel like we put in the reps and that we also had somebody kind of critiquing the reps as well. I mean, we were just shooting like a little reel before here. And you said to Sophie, you were like, any notes, like that's a sign of somebody who's like trying to get better at like something that is probably a little bit of a dormant, gift or talent. And I think that's also why we overlook them, because gifts and talents, when they're innate, they're pretty subtle, and they're like kind of flabby, they're not like super formed. And I feel like you can speak to that so much. I mean, you were like a singer and a dance, you've done all this work and you know what it is to like do the reps. And I think that that's when you can start to get a little bit confident about it, because you look back and you're like, oh, I put these hours in. And I would say that that's what the gift of doing the readings for me. I've done like over, I think I'm at like 1,500 readings, something crazy like that. And I remember the first year that I discovered I could do readings, I just put my head down and I just did a bunch of readings. And I remember at the end of the year, my assistant gave me like the number and I was like, no way. Like I've done that many readings. And it was actually, that is when I started to look talented. Like you don't look talented at first. I think you kind of have to be curious about perhaps there's something here. And then as you hone it and you put in the hours, I think you're able to embrace them a little bit more.
I love that, reps, like as like our next little step on our journey. And I just, I love that. I love reps. I love the idea of reps.
Well, it's like it is part of that masculine.
Yeah, that's
of
true.
Like, but I think when you said the confidence thing,
Yeah.
I mean, if I think about when I was auditioning for like TV and film, if I think about when we were on tour, if I think about interviews, the practice, preparation, and the preparation could look like, you know, obviously doing reps,
Yeah.
but also full body, mind, soul preparation.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
true. Mhm.
Yeah.
But the product of that for me was always, if I did that, and I've experienced the contrast, was complete confidence.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and
I
I
have
just
goosebumps.
we obviously love that feeling. But there were many times where I wasn't fully prepared or was half-assed preparation. And I experienced just complete like out of bodiness, like just not being in my full power. And yeah, it's just such a good feeling. It feels more like me, even though I know there's a part of me that kind of manifests that unpreparedness, but it's like that's really me when
And
I
I
am prepared.
think that's the value. It's like you know that there is value here, so I'm going to respect it.
Yeah, the
And I'm going to
respect.
respect it by practicing and preparing because like I respect. And I think that's the big difference between
Yeah.
a person who's not getting paid for their
Yeah.
talents and a person that is. You're like, I respect this gift. I think it's valuable.
Yep.
And I'm going to present that way.
And I respect my client or the person that I'm working with or the person that's receiving this. And I respect myself enough to prepare. I think a lot of people don't want to put in the reps or they want to get to a destination too quickly or they want to rush too quickly. But I think the point too, when you said, I asked her for notes, it's like, when we can love ourselves enough to know that like any notes are okay and that we're not a bad person and that there's not anything wrong with us if we get feedback or if we get people sharing information, I think that's the thing too for a lot of people that want to monetize their gifts. You have to be prepared to receive feedback because it's you or it's your offering or your service. And when you're sharing something with the world is going to respond in some sort of way, whether it's no sales, lots of sales, feedback, no feedback, positive, negative, whatever. And so being able to like not waver and withstand feedback or criticism or insight or mentorship is going to be a huge part because that's where you really can, go past the blind spots or improve each time.
How do you feel like you've been able to, because I've seen the evolution of like how you metabolize feedback and use that? Because I feel like there was a time, both of
Not
us,
available.
I think, not available for feedback.
Not available.
But how
I was like, actually, I'm complete. I'm unavailable for feedback.
Oh my God.
And I feel like that's okay in certain seasons or instances. But I've definitely seen like a growth in that way. Like, how do you feel like you've been able to kind of discern when you take feedback and why it's valuable?
I think for me, my motto for feedback is that I don't request or take feedback for things that are in the gestation period. If I'm in the process of creating or birthing something, I want no feedback. I'm not sharing with anybody. I'm not asking anyone for their input because I am very strong-willed, but I can be easily influenced. I can be kind of thrown off my path as much as I'd like to think I wouldn't be. And so I want whatever I'm bringing to the world to be pure and to be, truthful and to be authentic to me. And then as far as getting feedback, I think I had to remove myself from it where I felt like it was about me. I think when you're so self-obsessed and self-absorbed, and I'm saying this as someone that like, it's funny with codependency or being an empath because you think you're about other people, but you're actually obsessed with yourself and how people perceive you. So when you're obsessed with that and someone gives you feedback, you're like, I'm a bad person. There's something wrong with me. The codependent says, I need to change who I am based on this feedback. They want me to talk louder. I got to talk louder. They want me to not say totally. I got to not say totally. And then you're just kind of juking and jiving and running around based on the world telling you who you are and what you want to be. So I think now I have such an anchored sense of self that there's no parts that are chasing the approval or what people want from me because I'm here. The approval's from within. So anything that I get as feedback is running through my filter of myself. Does that feel true for me? Does that feel helpful? Does that feel I'm psychic too. So I'm like, is that them? Is that their lens that they're running through? Or is that like a truth to mine? And then there's people that you trust. I think having people that you trust that know you and love you, having the opportunity or availability to give you feedback. And I think the last thing is that with my friends, I'm very clear when I want feedback and when I don't. I will say to them, hey, I just texted this dude. I don't want feedback. I just want support. Hey, I'm doing this thing. I don't want feedback. I just want you to gas me up. Hey, I'm actually in the process of I want feedback. Like, what are 3 things that you could see for me? Like, what do you think would work about this? What do you think would not? And giving like a beautiful filter and a frame so that you can be in a space to receive feedback is also really good. So when I'm available for feedback, I'm resourced, I'm regulated, I am well slept, I have spaciousness and time. I can actually allow that information to move through me in a way that's helpful and not like, not a use of their time or not a use of my time. So I'm very thoughtful about it. And I think it would behoove them to be mindful about it in the beginning phases about how much feedback they're trying to get. Because I think people try and get more feedback than I think they need.
I love that idea of like kind of knowing the difference between like if you just need support or feedback. That's awesome. And I think also, like I remember as a young writer, like I was terrified you have an editor that's part of the job. And I was just like terrified to get that feedback. But once you get past it a little bit, you're like, oh my God, like this is a much better article. And like you said, like this person has my best interest in mind. They hired me, they're my boss. The idea is hopefully, they have my best interest and you become a better writer. But I would say I have some rules around feedback. I definitely like do not ask somebody who hasn't already done it or isn't as brave as I would either am or as I would like to be. I'm not, even I love my husband to death, but I remember when I was first starting the readings and all that kind of stuff, his feedback was not helpful at that time. And like you said, kind of knowing that it's like it was a little like sensitive at that time. So not letting in those people. But if there's somebody that has done it, you're probably not going to get advice about maybe being a mom from somebody who like doesn't want to have kids or something like that, So I think also knowing who to ask that guidance for. And I think also knowing, do you really want feedback or are you just like looking for somebody to tell you that it's great?
100%.
Because I've done that
That's
a
the
bunch.
thing. I'm like, I just want you to gas me up.
Yeah.
I just want you to say this is amazing and this is good. I actually don't want any. Because most people don't want that, want feedback. They're insecure or whatever. And I'm not saying that I'm like the best at it, but it's like just a different game to be like, okay, I'm going to look at this critically. I'm going to take myself out of it. I'm going to see this objectively. Like even with your readings, it's like, you had to take that away from you. It's like, okay, here I am as a person and this being that's bringing through this thing that's readings. How can I look at readings objectively? How can I improve readings? It's not how can I improve myself or whatever. It's like, this is a thing that could use improvement or this is a thing that could be fine-tuned. And I think we can take the creative project or the thing that we're doing outside of ourselves and be able to look at it, it's so much easier to be able to fine-tune rather than like, I'm the problem, I need fixing or I need adjusting.
Yeah, because if you think about it, these gifts are really like an expression of God. So when you take yourself out of it, you're like, with the readings, for example, or even when I was a young writer, I would always be like, oh, this is just God expressing itself through me. This is not me, like Nikki. This is like something that is coming through me. I am just a vessel for this expression. So I really started to see like that always helps me because I by no means am like, I do get self-absorbed and obsessed over my own things all the time. But when I start to separate and be like, no, even here at this show, like it's like we're trying to do our best to be a vessel for whatever spirit's messages are for whoever is listening. Like, may we be like an empty vessel for that. And that helps me like remove myself from it and also be okay with like tweaking it a little bit because it has nothing to do with like my personal value as a human.
100%.
Okay, hey guys, it's Lynn's reporting from vacation, and I just wanted to let you in on a little secret. If you are getting ready for vacation or really just upgrading your wardrobe in any way, Quince is my new jam, my new go-to for everything really great quality, amazing style, and insanely affordable. So let me bring you in on what I am currently literally wearing in this moment. I'm
in the bathroom in our hotel room. I was like, babe, I gotta talk about this for a second. I'm wearing the European linen shorts from Quince. They are so comfortable, perfect fit. I got them in white. I'm wearing them dressed up, dressed down, like even like a bathing suit cover up. They are just phenomenal. Highly recommend. They come in a bunch of colors. And then I'm also wearing the Italian V-neck bathing suit top and the Italian V-neck bathing suit bottom. Really sexy, amazing fit, and the fabric is insanely buttery soft. And I got it in like this bluey periwinkle color. It is so nice. I think it's my summer color. But again, everything is so affordable and incredible quality. So often I'll find like fast fashion or cheap fashion that's like terrible quality, and I just feel terrible after I buy it. But I feel so good about my Quince pieces. I'm gonna keep going. Like, this is how I'm going to like create a foundation wardrobe for myself. So to upgrade your summer wardrobe, look no further than Quince. For our listeners, you can go to quince.com/almost30 for free shipping and 365-day returns. Again, that is quince.com/almost30, QUINCE.com/almost30 for free shipping and 365-day returns. I cannot wait to see what you got.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack partner. IQ Bar is the better-for-you plant protein-based snack made with brain-boosting nutrients to refuel, nourish, and satisfy hunger without the sugar crash. You know the one. These bars are clean. We're talking like no gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, or weird sweeteners. Just really high quality ingredients that support your body and brain. I've been keeping them in my diaper bag, in the car, in the purse, everywhere, because I love to have these, whether it's before a workout or just like a mid-afternoon snack, or if I don't get to eat breakfast, I'll have this on the go. And when IQ Bar sent me their sampler pack, I immediately became obsessed with a few more flavors. I always love the banana nut, but the peanut butter chip, oh, it is nostalgic in the best way. It tastes like a treat from my childhood, honestly. And then I also love the lemon blueberry. It's like very bright, very zesty, and so good with like just a little afternoon matcha or whatever I'm craving. But I love how they make me feel. You know, I'm not hangry 20 minutes later. I don't crash. I actually feel energized, focused, and very satisfied. So right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all products plus free shipping. Just text almost to 64000. That's almost to 64,000. That's ALMOST to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
No.
Do you feel like, I guess, what is your relationship with like your own perfectionism? Because I feel like when we create something, there is a path of like kind of a bottomless pit of like, this could always be better.
Yeah.
Um,
That's my favorite quote.
yeah, I know. But
This could
you know,
always be
it
better.
really serves, you know, it serves to a point. And then it's like, when is it time to let go? When is it time to let it be and just like breathe there?
This is such a powerful question because this is what stops most women
Yeah.
is that perfectionism.
Because and I think, and I've been in that where I'm like, oh, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. I'm not gonna put it out. Da da da. And I kind of got sick of that, like with new mom. It's like such a baby out there in the world, but it's not perfect. But I'm like, oh, it feels so good to not give a fuck and like just allow who's ever meant to find it, engage with it, and like also stay true to what feels so good to me. And I think for me and my creativity, it's so important for me to not actually care about the audience. I think we talked about this at one point.
Yeah.
Really disengage from, which sounds counterintuitive and maybe like rude to people, potential consumers of a new mom, but like it's important for me at this stage to trust what's coming through is actually meant to serve new moms or those that feel like new moms. So sorry, back to the original question around perfectionism. It's like, how do we work with that? When is it important to leverage and when is it something we need to like tend to?
Such an important question. I have two thoughts about this. So number one, there are the times where we have to like release, even when we know that it's not ready or it's not perfect, because we need the feedback. Like you know, we want to think that we're creating this all by ourselves, but we're not. You know, we're creating this. It's a co-creation with the people that are receiving it. It's a co-creation with God, all that. So we have to like put it out a little bit to see, you know, it outside of us, like to see how it's walking and, you know, how it's. So I think there's like an aspect of like, I'm calling it perfectionism, but I'm really just here. I'm just scared to hear what I'm going to get back. But if I'm in the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to beta test this, whatever. I'm going to put this out there. And I'm going to see, you know, like how I can make it better. And if I'm really dedicated to making my gifts better, I have to be open to putting it out before it's ready. And then the second thing I really learned about perfectionism throughout my years is like everything changed for me when I met my sister-in-law, who's married to my older brother. She is a plastic surgeon. And I don't know if you guys know like female doctors or female surgeons. They are like the epitome of like, you know, just type A perfectionist. I mean,
it's a manifest. Your work is perfectionism. So you manifest that.
Imagine. So I meet this woman and I love her. And I just really this person that came into my life that I was like really admired. And she admired me the same way, which was funny. She's a Scorpio. So she's like into the work that I do. But as I watched her, like, and I saw her like maneuvering through her work and just being like so dedicated to it, I asked her that question about, I'm like, how do you get past like perfectionism? And she's like, oh, I don't think about perfectionism. She's like, I think about excellence. And it started to make me think that sometimes we judge ourselves for being perfectionists, but I think that there is nothing wrong with being like, I shoot for excellence when I can. It's probably not always going to happen. And she really embraced that about her. Like she was like, she's like, I don't get caught up with perfectionism. I seek for excellence. Like I try to seek out excellence and I try to be as excellent as I can in that moment. You know, we talk about you guys writing the book, right? Like it's as excellent as it can be at this moment. I'm sure 4 years from now, when you guys have other books under your belt, this book is not going to look as excellent because we are constantly evolving and moving. But I think it's okay to shoot for excellence. And instead of calling it perfectionism, I think the only difference between excellence and perfectionism is that you let it go. You say like, this is the best I could do in this moment. And I'm proud of myself for this moment. And I let it go. And I might be picky and I might be like a diva about it sometimes, or I might be like looking for like, Sophie just put my hair fly, whatever, like she was like putting my hair down. I didn't really notice it, but you know, she's trying to make me look as excellent as possible, right? In this moment. And I think sometimes we have to like not judge ourselves for that, especially like the Virgos of the world, you know, like you're shooting for excellence, which is different than perfectionism.
Yeah. Perfectionism feel like it has that energy of control
And judgment.
And yeah, the excellence feels like fuel, forward movement. It feels, I guess more like inspiring, but not have a chokehold on you.
Exactly.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. And hopefully the idea is that you could actually let it go.
I'm trying to think of how perfectionism manifests in my life. How do you feel like it manifests in your life? I don't know.
I think I see it a lot in my personal. So like within like my just like family home life, like there's aspects of that I really desire to be quote unquote perfect, to bring me more comfort and ease and joy and but I think like one of the hallmarks of a family is the imperfection and just kind of being able to kind of move through, love each other and support each other through it. So Sean's really good at kind of catching me in those moments and just kind of asking really important questions around like why it's important to me. You know, that's something is a very certain way and I have such a like tight grip on it. So it shows up for me there in a way that I'm kind of like, like we could be a little bit more malleable there. I don't think it shows up for me in my creativity as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's a good one.
It's been liberating.
true.
And maybe because we've had kind of this, just success with Almost 30, where I kind of feel this like permission to, with what I'm creating next, like that, let's just freaking experiment and have it be less about perfection.
Yeah.
Because I think to compare anything to Almost 30 right now would be like too much for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what do you feel like? How does it show up for you?
I think I've got some shadow there. I think I've got some stuff in my shadow that I can't really see in this moment with perfectionism. I think because of where I am in my life, I feel like I'm being good. So the perfectionism part of me is pleased. So I don't think I'll know until
What
I
is good?
fall
Like,
off the cliff.
What do you mean being good? Like you feel
She's, like,
good,
proud
you
of
are
herself.
good,
Like the perfectionist is like, we're doing good.
Yeah.
We're on our, you know what I mean? So I think it's so when I'm out of that, then the other part, the perfectionist is like, we are not okay.
You gotta.
So I think in this moment I feel fine with it, but mine's probably the striver, career has to be, whatever, looks have to be perfect. But then I have like that rebel part of me too. So I don't know. It's hard for me to really pick that apart right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I don't have the tendencies. I think my whole thing is everything could be better, but
Probably now because you can manage it all. You know what I mean? Like the family perfectionism is like super funny. My kids called me out because I was obsessed with them wearing matching pajamas. Like
that's hilarious.
Literally, my kid is like Oliver's 11. He's going through that awkward stage of middle school, and I was like still trying to buy him like Gap size like XL, like to just because I wanted to see him in like a matching pajama. I like forbade him to wear like a t-shirt and like whatever shorts. He's like, Mom. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the aesthetic. And then I would try to put the boys in the same pajama every night.
That's
it was
hilarious.
Like, it was insane.
You're my dolls.
Yes.
Put on your outfits, my little dolls.
It was like nobody was going to see it. It was just like this. And then they just started to rebel. They just like now purposely will wear like one pair of pants that doesn't match like the top.
That's hilarious.
Like they're like, because I think when things are so messy, family is so messy. There's so many of them. You have this house. It's the small thing that like you're like, maybe I can keep. That's why moms like sit and watch those like videos of organizing the pantry and shit. And I would say the other thing.
That's a good one.
Yes, that's hilarious. And the other thing I would say that's difficult about, if you think about family as a work of art, it's like this thing that you're creating as a mom and you really feel like you're the, the painter of this like canvas or whatever. It's one of those creations that like you don't know if it turned out well till the very, very end. It's like, when is that time? Is it when my kid's 19? Is it when my kid goes to college or not go to college? Is it when my kid gets married that I've been like, you did a good job? So there's something about it that is like a living, breathing work of art where, Sophie and I could be working on a reel and we put it out, it's complete. We can judge if it was like good or bad, if it needs work. But there's something about family that's like it's like a garden. You're tending to it. So it's like you never really get this moment that tells you if you're doing a good job or not. So I think the perfectionism really comes through because you have all this pressure on yourself and it feels like it's the small things that I'm such a savage and my kids are not wearing matching pajamas. Like I'm a bad mom, because I'm trying to get a hold for, is this work of art going to come out good or not? And like, I think that's the hard thing about why like smaller projects are a little bit easier and things that you can manage. Think about making a book, right? Don't you guys feel like, putting out a podcast episode, at least you're recording it maybe 3 months. You have 3 months of wondering if it's going to work or not. But the book is like something you've been working on. And sure, you get feedback from editors and things like that. I mean, not to put pressure, but like, you know what I mean?
No,
it's one of those
100%.
like work of arts that it's so much easier to get like freaked out about it because you put all this effort into it and it's like you don't know if it's going to be good or not until the end. So that's why I love like digital creation too, because I love, or even business, because you learn to see that the feedback kind of
Yeah.
helps you tell you, if it's doing good or not or whatever.
Yes.
So I enjoy those type of creations other than these like long
And you can
format
build in
ones.
the moment too.
Mhm.
You're kind of like, okay, we're going to adjust or fine tune. Yeah, the book is very scary to me, like very public, a lot of people counting on us, a big up level, a big ask, a big opportunity, a big moment, like where it just feels different than anything I've ever done. It's just, I'm so excited though. You helped me reframe that last night. You're like, these people like need the book. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, if I had this book, honestly, and I'm
Yes.
saying this truthfully from my heart, when I was almost 30, like my life would be so different. Like the feeling that you have of being so alone, of being so lost, and anyone that's lost or alone, could benefit from it. But it is like the culmination of what we know and do as the show. And so it helped me to kind of release the grip on it, And sometimes I think with anything that I do, speaking or retreats and stuff, I just have to say like, okay, time to have fun.
Yes.
Just time to have fun. I'll like get ready. Like
You made it as excellent as possible.
Yes.
And
and now we just want to have fun.
release.
And then you can go on stage and you can have fun. It's like, then that part of me that's like, got to be perfect, got to do this right, got to say the right thing. I think actually my perfectionist comes online when I speak a lot on stages, because it's like, got to be profound, got to say it clearly, got to do all these things. So when I can let that chill and be like, actually, just have fun. It's like, that's all we're going to do is usually the best thing. So hopefully with the book too, I can also step into like fun, with the process.
That's what I've been thinking about, like just approaching next year, because the first half of next year is press tour for the book, going into book launch, book tour. And the amount that you can get totally weighed down by the logistics, the expectations, all the things we have to do. And I was like, oh, fuck, what do we have to do before the holidays for the book? I'm like, I just had that like anxious thought. And there's so much of that around the book. And I've really been thinking about how I want to feel like next summer, summer 2025, kind of after, the book will still be talking about it and out there. But I think just the initial kind of excitement of the launch and the tour, how do I want to feel? And I want to feel peaceful and proud. I want to feel like, damn, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. My family's going to remember that for the rest of my life. Me and Krista are going to be talking about this forever. And so that kind of helps me in these moments, these like micro moments where we're like, we have to do this, or like, how are we going to get this done? Or, how are we going to plan this? To kind of release the charge around it.
No, and it's a good tip because it's like you're setting yourself up for success. It's like you can really you have everything that it takes to be successful, but we can really sabotage it by thinking about it differently or not visualizing like that good moment. So it's like, I think that's also you being like a good momager, and saying like, we got this talent, she's put it all out there, she's worked hard for this, like, let's not, at the end, not say screw it up, but like, at the end, her not to get to enjoy it. So we're going to set her up for success by like, it's like the athlete that's like, okay, I've already trained, I've already practiced. Like, let me now visualize it turning out that way. And I think that is also, I always say there's like a momager with the inner talent. And it's almost like the momager in you knows that the talent has like done the job, like has done the work.
Yeah.
So now that it's time for the performance, let's like set her up for success so that she doesn't, this is like the party. You should be able to enjoy that part. And it could go bad if your mind is in the wrong place, So I think that's
I love that. Enjoy the party part of it.
Yeah.
So if someone feels like they're monetizing their gifts someone feels like they're monetizing their gifts, but it's not really making a lot of money, or they're still at their corporate job where they're getting paid, like what advice would you give?
I think I'm like kind of putting myself there. I wonder, I think if you're doing all the things, like, so if you're like, okay, I've done the things, I'm putting up the reels, all that. I feel like when the action is not giving you the result that it should be, then you know that there's something off with your energy. There's something off with your subconscious. There's something off with like the actual, like you, the machine. that is putting it out. So I would take a break from all the task and the doing, and I would really start to like hype myself up and be like, okay, do some of the visualization, maybe look at my subconscious. Like, what are my limiting thoughts about this? What, do I feel like I deserve this? I'm worthy of this. What am I afraid of? Sometimes some of us are afraid of success for like the craziest things. Like my husband won't love me anymore if I make more money than him, things like that. My husband, we talked about this. My husband won't need me anymore. So I always say like, almost doing some of the strategy stuff is like easier because somebody can hand that to you. Somebody can be like, okay, Nikki, you're going to do, you're going to put up these reels. You're going to do this. This is how you're going to grow your audience, or this is how you're going to do sales. And if I'm doing all those things and it is working for Lindsay better than it's working for me, I'm not going to think that like Lindsay's better than me. I'm going to think like Lindsay has a better internal system than I do right now. And I'll sometimes, because I'm intuitive and all of you guys are, I'll actually sit and I'll kind of feel into the energy of the person that maybe is like killing it at the game that I want to be killing it at. And I'll be like, how is she thinking about herself? When she does do an action, how is she holding herself? How is she showing up? And what is different than me? So that's something I always look at, because I feel like this question is somebody who's already trying, but it hasn't really like tipped over yet. And to me, it's something in the internal system that is off.
Beliefs. The beliefs, or else there's not enough structure, not enough form. I also think, I don't know, I'm curious how you guys feel about this. I think nowadays there's sometimes an aspect of it where I've seen a lot of people be successful by being audience first and then providing the service or product.
What's an example?
So like someone growing an audience, like a online creator, Jojo Siwa. Hilarious example.
That's hilarious. I love
She
it.
creates the audience and then sells the bows. Or like Camila
Sells
Cabello.
what? What does she
the
sell?
bows. She sells bows.
Bows.
Oh, right.
That's
Oh
a
my
bad
God.
one. Camila
No,
Cabello.
I like that.
She's grew the audience with fashion, started her own fashion line. Melissa Wood Health grew the audience and then created the platform. And it's almost like doing things, it's interesting because there is like two ways of like you being fully internally led. And I think maybe this is what it is. You are fully internally led when you create the audience, and then the audience sort of is what you respond to. But I'm curious what you guys feel.
I thought about that when I first started too. And I feel like that was my first approach when I first started. I was like, because I come from a media background. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do like a bunch of content for this one audience, let's say. I think you have to be aware that sometimes you just get lucky. But I think if you're just like, okay, if I have this one audience, this is what they're struggling with or whatever, I'm going to make a bunch of content. I'm going to give them a lot of free stuff at the beginning. The only problem about that is that you're not making money. Like you're investing, you're doing like some sweat equity probably for like 2-3 years or so.
True.
I mean, I heard Joe Rogan say that he was doing his podcast for like 5 years before he started to like really monetize it. Or I could be wrong with that number, 3 or 5 years or something like that. So I think that's definitely like a smart way to do it, because once you have an audience, you can sell anything and it gets like a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But if not, then you have to kind of lean into filling some sort of gap in the market with your product or your service. Like you have to, you won't be able to be super fully passion driven. I feel like you have to find a middle ground where you're like, I have this passion. Now, where's that middle place where they'll like pay me for it? Like where people will actually like put money. So you might have to find something in the middle. And then once you get out of that survival place that you're like making money, then you can probably expand into something that is like fully passion. So I think it just depends. Are you more comfortable like staying at your job and like investing in growing that audience without getting money? Or are you like, no, I want to make money now. I thought I was going to write self-help books. Like that's really what I was like, getting into the work for. And then the readings came my way. And it was actually the thing, it wasn't like my first choice by any means. I'm grateful for it, but it's not like I dreamt of, being a person that was doing a bunch of readings, but it was a thing that got my foot through the door.
Yeah.
And then it was a happy medium between like getting paid for, my gifts or whatever. So I think I kind of feel like there's two models.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I do think there's two models. And it depends maybe on the person or whatever. But
and your situation, like Maybe there's some you live at your parents' house and you have the time to invest those 2 years, let's say, to like grow the audience.
And I think too, in doing that, where like you are growing the audience, not necessarily making money, there is a magic to not putting pressure on the thing yet. So I think for some people that's really helpful. For others, that's like totally boring. I think other people might thrive under maybe the pressure or adversity to kind of create the thing, find the most efficient way, and reach the people they're meant to reach. I think we've had many people on the podcast who have had like these very specific ideas and just got to creating them, with very little resistance. And I think some people kind of need to like step in as it before they create it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to have the audience validate it, and then they're ready to step in to actually bring it to form.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, it's like, I've said this, if the why is big enough, the how doesn't even matter. You figure out like the how reveals itself or it just happens. And so when people have a big enough why of my child suffered with this, and then I had to think of this prescription, we were struggling with this, so I created this. Like those are oftentimes the best businesses too, when it's someone is so why led. Like even we had an interview previously, this woman that was really sick and had to create a company of food that supported her in her sickness. Now it helps other people. But I think that's such a powerful thing. So, okay, last question for all of us. What is our prediction for 2025? Like, what do we feel like we're going to see in the collective? I think my predictions, I'll go first to give you guys a second. Some concepts that I think that are going to be very popular are inner teen. I think inner teen is coming online as a collective. I think we've done a lot of inner child healing, but I think we're at the place for inner teen healing. So I think we're gonna have a lot of inner teen moments, a lot of inner teen, which is actually really important for where we are as a collective to have better boundaries, to rebel against the system, to kind of relook at how we work with authority. So the inner teen energy is gonna be really, really potent. This is a weird thing, but I've always been curious about it. And I don't know if it's gonna come online, but I think at some point, we do so much parent work with healing the relationship to our parents, but I think we overlook our siblings. I think our siblings have a bigger impact on us than we think. Say your sibling was an addict, or say they were, the bad one, or say they were the golden child. Like that actually impacts you a lot more than we think. And I think we're going to look at the relationship with our parents. And then I think I've seen such a beautiful awakening to consciousness. I feel like so excited because a lot of the things that I've seen since 2020 are now coming to light or becoming obvious. And so I just feel really excited and enthusiastic that I feel validated in the path that I took, because now I see so many people now awakening to so many things that we've been talking about for years. So I just feel like there's such a beautiful awakening happening for people where they're also taking the brakes off of burning themselves out, feeling like they need to be validated for their achievements, but who they are. And I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really, really good year.
Nikki?
I love this question. This is like what I do on the podcast every week, which is fun, always reading the energy. I haven't done my 2025 predictions yet, but I saw yellow, solar plexus. I agree, kind of removing ourselves, getting our power back from certain systems, very much like not being part of things that we used to be part of, that we thought we needed to be part of. So a little bit of like being individuals, but hanging out with other individuals, if that makes sense.
That's a good one.
But also I feel like some like wackiness almost. Like I get some sort of, we're like in a weird innovation place where we're kind of back to where we were with like, social media and apps when all that stuff started, that we're going to see some like creations, a lot of them that are not going to work, but a lot of like throwing things at the wall. So it's going to be a funny creative time, I think, like with technology. I think it'll be like a funny, like, let's try this type of thing. So that's going to be like very like unhinged and kind of funny and weird is what I get for 2025. And also a lot of, I think, healing we were working on like healing the feminine for a lot, but I see a lot of the feminine and the masculine coming together. Like almost like, okay, after a few years of kind of having to step away from each other, having to blame each other, whatever, it almost looks like there's like an equal power coming in. So I do predict a good year of relationships.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, we had a relationship reckoning these past couple of years.
Yes.
But I think when we have the individuation and coming into sovereignty, then we can be in healthy new relationship templates.
Yeah.
So that's like the goal. I think coming out of codependency too. I think now people are really realizing how codependent they are with other things. I think I think we're also gonna be talking about inner critic too a lot.
I think we're going to be seeing like a lot of people publicly and maybe like more on the social media realm, like allowing themselves to change their mind
That's a
and
good
doing
one.
it in a way that like feels really inspiring and feels just like it creates a lot of compassion and empathy in the collective rather than like, oh damn, she changed her mind, like told you so. It's more like, oh wow, like
We need that.
that's actually really cool and that's really human and that we need more of that. So I think that's going to be happening like in the mainstream media a little bit, maybe more so in the next few years. But I think that I do think, obviously with everything happening in Hollywood and the music industry and all the, headlines, I think there's going to be just kind of like less of an idolization. I think that's already started, but I really think we're going to see that this year where, it's going to be less about idolizing their lives, what they've created, like the just ideals, and actually turning back to what we're creating in our own homes as like, damn, this is actually really where like the rock star life is like, tending to our families, whether the family we're creating or like our immediate family or our chosen family. And less about just like having our heads and faces in other people's lives. Because I do think there's something for me, and maybe this is just my personal experience of like being so in our phones, like is our bodies are going to start to react in a way that is actually like very obvious. So whether it's like pains, whether it's like eye issues, whether it's like just like very weird symptoms. And I just feel like there are going to be certain people that actually notice that and tend to that and wake up to that, and certain people that won't. But all that to say, I just feel like there will be less of a obsession with being here, with always being in the know, in the mix through the phone, and more like within our communities, within our families, within like the local impact that we can make.
Full channel. Local community, baby. All right, guys, we love you so much. And if you are a creative that is looking to monetize your dreams, we are sending you all the love and courage on your path and your journey. Wishing you all the best. Nikki, can you tell everyone where to find you, what they can expect from you this year?
Guys, I love you.
Love you.
Thanks
This
for
was
having
so
this
fun.
convo
Love
with
you.
me. I can't believe like it's been so many years since we.
I know.
I know. When did we first meet? Miami? No, before that.
No, Austin. We were both. I was
Oh my
speaking, and you
God.
guys were
Good fest.
emceeing.
Good fest.
Yeah,
Was it?
Yeah, I was wearing a
Wow.
cheetah skirt
I
and
actually
a
have
pink
that
top.
picture.
It's all good.
You were
What was I wearing?
It's all good.
you were wearing pink.
And
Somebody
booties.
was
What do
wearing
you
white
mean?
booties. Somebody was wearing white booties.
Patent white booties, cheetah skirt, hot pink sweater tucked in.
Oh, wow.
I was wearing like tie dye,
And I was going to I was doing high impact Pilates 70 times a week. So my shoulders were like a linebacker.
Yes,
I was fully locked and
I
loaded.
connected to Lindsay more because I sat next to her and we were talking about dating. And
Because you had your book.
and you were
Okay.
like almost intimidating for me. Like I was just like, this person has a very strong energy. And then
I've heard that many times. That's why I have to like touch everybody and be like, oh.
And you're like the sweetest, most loving person.
Yeah, but like,
yeah, but that's
I mean,
like kind of what I got. So
I
it's been
like when people
years.
say that to me.
But
You what?
I like to be a little intimidated.
you should be,
totally.
yeah. And then, but yes, this is just a blessing to be here with you guys. And I remember sitting next to Lindsay and being like, you make money from a podcast? What? And you guys had like just left your jobs or
Yes.
something. And you're probably like,
We were rolling at that time.
baby.
Started from the bottom now.
I
we're here.
think too, whenever, I don't know if you're at events, like I can't, I'm doing better now, but it's really hard for me to not be, I'm like,
On.
Yeah, I get stressed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm like not fun to be around that.
We sat next to each other at a dinner, and that's kind of how we connected.
That was fun. TBT Good Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love you
those
guys, and I
events.
owe a lot of like my success because of you
No,
guys.
you've been so important for us over the years.
truly.
So it's been a blessing.
Reciprocal.
My last reading was when I was in London. I was talking to London Man. It's all good. It's all good.
It's always
It's
here.
all good. You know it's not the right relationship when you get a reading about them. It's all good.
That's probably pretty accurate, I would say. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But okay, guys, love you. I have a podcast where I do reads twice a week, one for just the general and one for business. So if you are starting your business, I think you'd really love that. It's called Soul Led Living. And you can find me on Instagram at Nikki Novo or nikkinovo.com. And we'll be collaborating on some reels soon. So you can just check us out from there.
Can't wait. We love you.
All right. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Nikki. Again, it's nikkinovo.com. You can find her on Instagram as well. And we also have another episode or two with her. So you can search Nikki Almost 30 if you want more. And yeah.
We appreciate you all. Thank you so much for ordering our book, almost30.com/book. And if you have read it, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And please subscribe to the show. We have new episodes every single week, so we don't want you to miss any of them. All right. We love you. See you on the next one.
Bye.